Like
This
real
hangout airs live. Woo!
Yay!
We're live!
Woot!
We are live.
Yay! This is so exciting.
It's
Ah,
now. I feel like we're
okay.
booktubers now.
We're what?
We're real booktubers now.
We're real booktubers now. Quote, real booktubers, yeah. Okay, should we welcome everyone? I don't know if anyone's watching. Let me look and see if I can find out.
I mean,
Viewers. We have one person watching for sure.
Woo! Yes, one
Wait.
person.
Who? And then that might be like I haven't refreshed or anything. Anyways,
it might be me.
It might be me. Yeah, I don't know. Might be me. I have it open. I don't know. Whatever. Welcome to the first book club discussion thing. I'm so excited this is happening because I've been thinking about this forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm Janessa. I'm just gonna introduce myself. This is weird, but I'm gonna do it. I'm Janessa from Thoughts of Nowhere. I'm currently in Alaska, and yeah. And then one of you guys someone want to go introduce themselves?
I am Abby. I'm from Abbey Reed, and I am currently in a very tiny town in Connecticut that no one's heard of.
Yay, tiny towns! Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm Chantal from Book Hands. I'm from Toronto, which is nice because I think I finished school earlier than all of my international friends. For some reason, Toronto schools just finish university early, so
Awesome.
I am
Wow.
well on my summer break, which is nice.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Woo! Woo!
Well, I'm Emma, and I'm from Emma Tobias. People pronounce the middle name wrong. That's okay. I'm in South Carolina, so
Woo!
Very cool.
lots of mosquitoes.
Oh man. Oh, same here. The mosquitoes, the Alaska state bird, because they're so big.
Ugh.
It's a joke.
Where in South Carolina are you? I go down there for work a lot.
I live in a place called Central. I live in the upstate. I live near the Georgia border, so very backwoods, very banjo-y.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Very nice. Very nice.
Ah! Awesome. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. I just want to hang out and also discuss it, but just hanging out is already cool. It's been 5 minutes.
Together we can talk about the book.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I've read it a few times, and I
Yeah.
know. Abby, have you? Yeah.
I've read it a few times. I read the second and possibly the third, but I was much younger and I don't really remember the second or the third, and I kind of remember the first from when I first
Okay. Okay. What about you two?
I never read it. So.
Wow.
But have you seen the movie though?
I've seen the movie.
Yeah.
But I
Okay.
haven't seen it in a while, so it's still pretty fresh.
Mhm.
I read Forever in Blue, which is the fourth one, a
Mhm.
long time ago. It was bizarre because I didn't know. This is my first time reading the first one, which was interesting.
Oh. Okay.
And I've also seen lots of movies.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I love this series obviously because I started this thing because I wanted more people to read them with me.
Yeah, totally got that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've never hosted a book discussion, so I'm kind of trying to channel my inner English lit. What do my professors do? Kind of thing.
TA, you're your TA.
Yeah. But okay. So the idea of the four best friends. Ever since I was little, I've kind of idolized that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I remember after I first read it, I'd be like, which of my four friends am I, and who are they? Who's who?
That's so funny. Oh, that's a good question to start off with. Who do you identify with the most out of the
Mhm.
When I was little, I was totally Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. But I think now, I'd still say Carmen.
Yeah. I think I used to identify real hard with Carmen as well. And now that I'm grown up, I still totally see it. And I really didn't identify with Bridget at all because she was athletic. I'm super not athletic. And now that I've read it a second time and I understand that there's so much more to her character than just the sports aspect, I think that I really identify with her in the determination, I will achieve things, I will feel things, and then you just feel everything and nothing, and it's crazy. So
Yeah.
I identify with her now at this point in my life.
Yeah.
Mhm. I guess like I kind of identify with Lena, not perfectly because like a big part of her character is wow, I am so beautiful and everybody like I have that issue all the time, which is not something that has been major in my life, but like how introspective she is and how I guess like instead of the fear of people like only seeing your outside layer, it for me it's more like um fear that people are just using me for different reasons, and then you only see their true colors later on. So I think, yeah, if it was to be anyone, for me, it would be Lena.
That makes sense.
I'm such a Tibby.
This works out so well.
I love it.
I love it.
I was like, I'm Tibby. I mean, she's just kind of a jerk, but she's like really good-hearted.
Yeah.
I'm like nice to people, but I'm also just very honest and very abrasive. So I was like, plus I used to make documentaries in high school, very stupid
That's so cool.
documentaries.
There you go.
This works out so well, you guys. Oh my goodness. We didn't even plan that. That's perfect. Perfect. Now we just need some pants that magically fit. Which, okay, can we just talk about that for a second? That would never happen.
But I like the theory behind it.
Yeah, it's adorable, but like I will get two size like the same size of two different brands, and like one won't fit on my thigh. Like,
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I have to say, like, I read this for the first time when I think I was like maybe 11 or 12. So this was maybe like 10 years ago, 9 or 10 years ago that I read it for the first time. And I thought this was like so cool. I like wanted this to happen to me, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And now that I'm reading it back as a 22-year-old, I'm like, none of this is possible. None of this would actually happen in real life. Like, I'd like to imagine that it would. And like, I love it. I love the story. I still love the storyline and everything. But like, the pants, the like falling in love with this like coach like in two days, like, and like casually flying off to Greece and doing all these things. It's just like, no, how are they doing these?
Yeah.
and then it's a book, so like you're like, okay, it's words, but also it's like real in your brain. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, so Chantel and Emma, since you guys didn't haven't read it before, like what were your thoughts like overall? I don't know.
Yeah, like did you have any like preconceived ideas about the book because everyone like hypes it up so much?
I'd say if anything, like having seen the movies first, I felt like the movies were really good, and even though I hadn't read the book, it felt like a good adaptation. So when I was reading the books, like all of the characters from the movies were so clearly the visualizations that I got.
Totally.
Especially, no, just everyone. Like everyone felt like really good casting. But I don't know if I was like super duper biased since I watched the movie first. But they translated very easily for me.
Yeah. I think it's one of the best adaptations, movie to book.
Yeah.
I mean, also I think that might also be like nostalgia because that movie came out when we were in middle school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just about. I mean, we're all about the same age, so like I think, yeah. So I don't know, like, so that's part of it. What do you think, Emma?
I thought it was going to be much more melodramatic than it was. I was thinking it was gonna be, I mean, it was a little melodramatic, but I thought it was going to be super melodramatic because I remember reading about the fifth book,
I
book.
read that.
I haven't read it.
Yeah, and I was like, what? I was like, I'm not going to read this. I thought that, and then I just assumed that the whole thing would be as melodramatic as the Wikipedia plot summary that I read. It's so, like, awful for a book person to do that, but I totally
Oh, I do that too. Honestly, because there's so many YA books, like, it's hard to get to all of them, and people are talking about them. I'm like, well, I don't get the joke. Let's go on Wikipedia. Or, yeah.
This year.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to like separate my thoughts. It's just part of the reason why I wanted to do this book club is because it's such a nostalgic book series for me that I can't separate like my happy like little like tween year Janessa loving this and my 22-year-old. So like I'm really interested for all these different viewpoints. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. But yeah. I think when I was rereading this, the thing that like stood out to me the most that was different than what I remembered is the Lena and Costas storyline. Because I think I just remembered the book or the movie version of it, and I was like, the book is dumber.
Yeah.
And that one plot line was the one thing I was like, really?
Yeah.
Like,
Like Lena didn't feel like it fit with her characterization at all. For her to call madly this person she'd never talked to.
yeah. And I was just like, why? How did you fall in love? Like in the movie, it was like, oh, you know, they were friends and then they fell in love and it was secret. But this was like insta love, but insta hate and then insta love.
I think that my thing with the books is realizing that like because there are 4 of them and they talk about their storylines in such depth, it was really hard for Anne Brasher. I'm not even sure how to say her name, but I think it must have been really hard to be able to get that full storyline in for all 4 of them. So I think that a lot of things happened really fast, and I was kind of like, oh, when did that happen? When did that happen?
Yeah.
But I think that because the movie is like designated like on the premise of being a movie, it like has to be under 2 hours, you know, and so it was a bit more creative that way, maybe.
Yeah. Also, I think it's cuter in the movie, which probably has to do with like money and all that dumb stuff. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it's weird how much older both Eric, the coach, and Kostas were for, like, their age differences were so big.
Yeah.
Grody, like, just, like, being that young, being, like, 15 or 16, dating someone who was, like, I mean, I guess Kostas was a little bit better, but, like, still, it was, like, just the position of power thing was just...
Yeah, because I remember being, like, younger and reading it and thinking, like, oh, that's so cool. Like, that's totally, like, something that's awesome. Like, yeah, I want to have a boyfriend that's that old. And now I'm looking back and I'm just like, no, like, you're babies.
That's true. And in the movies, they seem super old as well. Like, none of those actors looked remotely 15 or 16.
Yeah.
So it was like, for me going into it, I was like, oh, shoot, these guys are really young. Like, they're doing all this stuff, and they're really young. I haven't done half of this stuff, and I'm like 19.
I know.
Dark Lord has given us not a question, but
hi
girls. Hi,
hello.
Dark Lord.
Hello. This is so exciting. Hello.
Well, like someone's watching.
Unilaterally acceptable.
Huh?
If the question he asked is, do you love unilaterally acceptable? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means either. Can you explain, Dark Lord?
Interesting. Okay.
Unilateral.
Maybe he's asking like if the whole age thing is okay, if it like an acceptance thing, if like in situations if it's okay. Maybe I'm just like
I think I have a hard time with it just because they're like children and like these are men that are technically above the age of like it's just like a lot of consent issues.
yeah, that's a huge thing. It bothered me.
But like we probably don't want to get into that. Go on a rant.
Anyway, they were both dreamy, so that's all that matters.
Totally. Totally.
I had some notes. Let me look on my phone. Because I was reading this when I was over in Europe. I sound so pretentious whenever I say that. But
I think it's awesome.
I just like every time I'm like, it happened. Okay, where was it? Sisterhood. Oh yeah, my first one was Lena. Why so insta-lovey?
Yeah.
Okay, one of my favorite things that Amber Sherd does is the quotes at the beginning of each chapter. Like, they're very cheesy, but I think that's when I kind of like got into quotes when I was like 6th and 7th grade, and I was like, quotes are cool and powerful, you know? That's dumb summarization by me, but yeah.
I think the hilarity of reading it in 2016, I almost said 2014, 2016, is that they date the book a little bit. Like, some of them are like, this feels like this was written in 2002.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that feeling a lot. It definitely felt like something that was written in the early 2000s.
Yeah, what really hit me was at the end of my copy, it says, like, here's a sneak peek of, like, the next book of the Sisterhood of the Traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Coming out in 2003, and I'm like, 2003? Like, oh, weird.
Yeah. No, yeah, I really like the quotes, and I love how the first quote is, I'm pretty sure it was "Not all who wander are lost," which is, Lord of the Rings, and I was just geeking out. I was like, yeah! But I'm like, I also have a problem when people use that quote all the time, because I'm like, you guys, it's about Aragorn, not about, anyways, that's just nerdiness
Yeah.
speaking out. But
I
we
was
can ignore that.
the one that was like, walk a mile in someone else's shoes because then you'll be a mile away from them and you'll have their shoes. That made me laugh so hard. I like that one a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. So, what was I gonna say? I have, the Carmen thing. I really liked Carmen's story, in the first book, just because my parents have been divorced since I was a little tiny kidlet, so, like, I always, like, divorced parents, woohoo, drama. But when I'm rereading this, I thought that Carmen was even brattier than I imagined her in that situation. I mean, it sucked. Obviously, it's a sucky situation. But rereading it, I was like, you're kind of being awful. I mean, but she's also 15, so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. What are you guys' thoughts on the whole Carmen plotline?
I felt like it's better to see it in the movie, like the way America Fiera plays it out in the movie feels so satisfying because it builds up more, and it's like I don't know, it was built up better in the movie than it was in the book. Because when she does that, I'm like, yes, get Bradley Whitford, he's being a real jackass. Like, I feel like he was being worse in the movie than he was in the book. Like, they played it up.
Yeah, I definitely. In the movie, when he's on the phone, like, apologizing to her when she's finally, like, saying, I was mad at you, like, why did you do that? His acting there, like, it's really subtle, but it gets me every time. I'm like, oh, he feels bad.
Yeah.
I watched the movie a lot, can you tell? Yeah. But
Yeah.
I'm excited for you to read the later books, because their other characters come back, and then I was like, I almost said something really spoilery, so I'd hold myself back.
I have mixed feelings about Carmen. I think that, like, I similarly to you, like, I have divorced parents, and so I kind of got it. But I think that, like, what really struck me was just, like, what a dick move her dad made. Like, not telling her, like, he was in a relationship, he was engaged, he had this other family, he moved. Like, he was hiding so much from her. And so part of me is kind of just like, well, duh, of course she's acting that way. Like, I probably would have been 10,000 times worse.
Yeah, yeah. And, like, to me, what got to me is the part that I don't like about her is how, I mean, it's part of her character is that she blames the fiancé and the perfect children, which is honestly something totally I would do. I would never be like, my dad didn't do it wrong. It's their fault. Like, that's totally, like, I'm loyal to a fault, and it's awful sometimes. But, like, I think that's the part that really got to me, but I think that's because I saw myself in that, and I was like,
Totally.
yeah.
Totally. And I think that's really a testament to the writing and, like, how much we can identify, like, and say, like, yeah, that's that one thing, that's a character trait, like, this one action or this one word, like, this really built into her character. And it's so easily identifiable, which is, I think, really incredible with the writing.
I thought the most, like, interesting storyline that I didn't think I was gonna, like, think was as good as it was Bridget's storyline. I thought that was very well done. And I thought that was just, like, beautifully crafted. Because Lena's is kind of sloppy, and then Carmen's is interesting, but, like, Bridget's for me was, like, spot on. It was so good.
Yeah, I liked Bridget's a lot, too. And I think I like that all of them, like, I think a central point in all of their plots is the mistakes that they make. And it's not necessarily, like, these girls are, morally wrong or right. They're just, like, going through teenagerhood. Yeah. And it's really, I think that goes back to the writing as well. It was just really endearing in a way.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and when I was younger, I think the Bridget storyline was my least favorite. Just because the whole coach thing freaked me out as a kid. Like, the Costas thing I didn't care about. I thought it was kind of cute because, like, Greece and whatever, But the Bridget thing, rereading it, like, especially because she has not... Because I think all of them they all have such different. I love this book anyways. Because Bridget has not only her issues with her father, with her mother who passed away, but also with her own mental issues, which I think is so important. And it wasn't really played that much. It was like more subtle, but it was still there and like prevalent the whole time, which I thought was very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I didn't.
Oh, I was gonna say,
okay.
especially for a 2002 book.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that. Oh shoot, I lost my train of thought. Let me think.
That's okay.
Oh yeah, I didn't necessarily like Bridget like as a person. I don't know if like just meeting her and not knowing her backstory and everything, I'd probably be like, this girl seems like a bitch. I don't want to hang out with her. But like going through her progression, I think hers was the most intellectually interesting. It had a lot of depth to it to explore that you don't see a lot in YA.
Yeah. I think that what was really interesting for me was that, you know, thinking back to when I've read this probably like a few times when I was younger, but I never picked up on the mental health aspect of that, which I think maybe was good that it was kind of subtly there, and it wasn't super in your face, and it wasn't like this, like, oh, like, she has a mental illness, her mom had a mental illness. Bless you.
Sorry.
It's fine. But I think that it was good that it wasn't, like, only there to serve as a plot line. Like, it was really there because, like, it was important, and it was, like, something that really was ingrained in her character, and it was so subtle that I think I really appreciated it.
Yeah. A lot of the mental health stuff in YA books, like, not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing, very much about that and less of, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. But I also thought was interesting is that the whole idea of her having sex with the coach is not said as it's a good thing or a bad thing necessarily that she did it. It's more just the repercussions for her were negative, and she was coming from a place of, like, fear almost, and, like, just she wasn't coming from a good place where she could, like, not consent to it correctly, but not to get in that whole thing. But you know what I mean? I thought that was done very well, because it could have been very preachy, like, oh, if you have sex, this is going to happen, like, you're going to, you know, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure when I read it as, like, a 6th grader, I didn't even pick up that they had sex until I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, they did that thing that you're not supposed to do. Like, that's what, like, my thought process was as a tween. But I don't know. I definitely, like, I think as I'm older, I appreciate Bridget's story so much more.
Totally.
Mm-hmm.
Totally. Yeah. What about Tibby? We haven't talked about Tibby.
Yeah. I love Tibby, and I love Bailey.
Oh my god. Bailey's amazing. I love Bailey. Yeah, that whole storyline just, like, breaks my heart and, like, shatters it into a million pieces every single time. Like, like, my heart, it's just gone.
Bailey was interesting. Bailey was definitely the foil for Tibby.
Yeah.
Very much so. Not to make this too literary, but I think all of us
totally.
I think it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, Bailey, okay. I don't know, this is not to, again, make this Englishy, this is an interesting book to, like, think about critically, like, in a young adult literature class, definitely. Yeah.
I think the relationship between Bailey and Tibby is the best relationship in the first book, like, even between the 4 girls. It's just so adorable, but it's also, like, I think it might even be the most meaningful one.
And it's because they really didn't know each other that well for that long. Like, but somehow that relationship was so deep and so, like, remarkable that it made such an impact, like, not only on Tibby, not only on Bailey, but, like, even these little people that, like, you know, Tibby didn't really think about, like, the woman who worked at Wallman's that she never really thought about except for, like, having, like, weird looking nails, like, how much that relationship really impacted so many people and thus impacted Tibby's life and outlook afterwards.
Yeah.
The Brian thing, because that's, like, such a bigger deal in the movie than it is in the book, and the whole idea of, like, Bailey picks out a worthwhile guy. I thought was interesting.
Yeah, I love the montage in the movie where Bailey's interviewing everyone and, like, shaking their hands, and I'm like, what a quality human. Like,
Jake.
Yeah, like with the lemonade, like best of luck in your business with your lemonade. I'm like, stop it, you're too good. Okay, sorry, blow my nose.
No, you're good. Don't worry.
I was on a boat with my dad this morning, and I got home, and it hit me, and I was like, the day that I'm gonna talk to people on the internet.
Oh no. That's okay.
Yeah.
We're pretty accepting.
Yeah.
I figured. Yeah.
I was also really interested in the kind of parallels between Carmen's family storyline and Tibby's family storyline, with kind of like the new family, the kind of like upgrading or whatever Bailey called it. I thought that was really fascinating to see.
Oh yeah. I didn't even think about that.
Well, I was thinking about that because like I kind of think that they had it kind of in pairs. Like when you saw them like writing to each other, like it was Tibby and Carmen that tended to gravitate towards each other, and then Bridget and Lena that tended to gravitate towards each other, specifically when they actually like went home and like found these people, or like when Bridget flew to camp, or no, when Lena flew to camp. But I was really fascinated with that family relation. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah. Okay. Did you guys? What about the I thought it was really cute. I'm losing the word. Not hamster. Guinea pig.
Big.
Tibby's guinea pig.
Oh,
I cried. And I was like, it's like guinea pig. It's like it's Hedwig all over again. But like.
Yeah.
But I was like, I've never picked up on the guinea pig.
Yeah.
And I was like, what a like obvious metaphor like between her and Bailey and whatever. But like, I just thought that was just a nice little touch.
Totally.
Yeah. Oh gosh. No, I don't know. Every time I reread this book, I'm always just the whole Bailey thing. Like you get the other characters, even the other side characters, you get them later in the series, and so you're like, okay, they progress, but like Bailey's there for probably not even half the book really, because there's so many other storylines, and yeah, so I just thought it was so, I don't know, I just liked Bailey's great character.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, and I'm really like, I liked the way that it specifically, we keep talking about the movie, but also the way that the documentary was kind of played out in the movie. Like that's something that I like want to see. Like I want to see, I want to see that footage, and I want to see. I don't know. I think it's just so cool and such a wonderful like thing that kept those two people that like really shouldn't have been friends otherwise together. Like I think that's amazing.
It was also like a really good idea as well, just in general, like outside of the book, just making a documentary about random people's lives.
Yeah.
It's adorable. We should all do that.
Yeah. And like people that you really wouldn't think of being like the most interesting people. Like if you were like, I want to interview so and so, like I want to interview someone who probably has like a cool job and is like very important and like these ways that we feel are very important. But like they interviewed the kid that like plays on the video game arcade machine, and like the assistant manager at Walman's, and like that was the most meaningful kinds of interviews that they had, and I loved that.
I think Tibby really needed it as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was kind of like, yeah, it was what Bailey said about her. I can't totally remember exactly what it was, but it was essentially like you're quick to judge people, but you allow yourself to change your mind. And I thought that was really powerful. I think it's been interesting, like, rereading the book as an adult and seeing truly how many subtle life lessons are in that book.
Definitely.
Yeah. So what was your favorite part of the book? Like, what was your, like, if you had to pick a highlight, like, what was your, like, yes, that was my favorite thing? Whether that was a moment or a relationship or anything.
Can we talk about Lena and her grandfather? That was the cutest thing.
Yes!
Grandfather.
Oh, my heart.
That was so good.
When he put his hand across the table, he's like, "You're my girl." I was like, melting.
No co-cess, just Lena and her grandfather being best buds.
Like, I don't need swoony romances. I just need grandfathers to love their granddaughters in really adorable ways.
The co-cess thing wasn't that swoony. Like, if you compare, like, other swoony, like, YA books, it's, like, so below all of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat that it's not so focused on the romance, but yeah, the swoon factor really was Lena and her grandfather.
Yeah. That was really powerful.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the grandparents are adorable.
I think that was what I'm thinking.
Huh?
Yeah. They're adorable. Sorry, it was laggy, so I think I might have interrupted you by accident.
Oh, it's
But
fine.
I was gonna say her relationship with her grandparents in general, with the cultural divide, I also really connected to, because like that's such a thing that a lot of people in Toronto in particular have to experience and go through, where there's naturally distance between people who are like so close to you in the family tree, and it's so bizarre, like trying to connect with them and feeling like so far and so close at the same time. So I like that.
That's so nice. Yeah, that's interesting.
What's with Effie? Effie's not in the movie at all.
Yeah, I just think it's so. She is in the second movie. Have you guys seen the second movie?
I have, but I don't remember it.
Me neither.
Okay, well, the second movie combines like half of the third book and most of the fourth book, and it's all right. Like, it's fun because it's this whole idea, and obviously all those actors are wonderful and beautiful, but meh is my opinion on that movie compared to the first one. But we can get to that later. Woo! I'm so excited. Yeah, but I think Effie is kind of just like, I mean, she's there because they all can't be single children. That's not accurate statistically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, Libby has the like toddler siblings, but they're there as like a more of a prop than like a character because they're toddlers, sort of. You know what I mean?
And like Bridget has a twin brother, but we never meet him.
Yeah, he just exists, and you're like, okay. But I don't know, because Effie in this book is just there to kind of be that annoying sibling to me as well. I got like, I don't know, what do you guys think of Effie?
I think that Effie was kind of a powerful point of reference to like really understand Lena, and seeing like how Lena really reflected on Effie and saying like, that's how people expect me to be. Like, I should be good with the boys. I should be all of these things because I'm so beautiful and like, I have this charm or whatever. But Effie's the one who's so happy-go-lucky, and she like manages to like light up a room, and kind of seeing the differences between those two. But then when they talk to each other and like seeing how truly they understand and love each other, I thought that was really powerful as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Effie's a big motivator for Lena. Like, Lena doesn't really do it. Okay, the thing that frustrates me about Lena is when she will not tell her grandparents about the truth about Costas for like...
Yeah.
Seriously. Just tell them.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even that big of a deal. Like, I mean, obviously to a 15-year-old, it was probably a big deal. But, I mean, if she, like, started that whole rumor because of the... I don't remember, because her... Is it the pants? I forget what happened to start that whole thing.
He was...
Oh, he sees her, right?
Yeah. She basically,
in the water?
Yeah.
And so she's just mega embarrassed and just didn't communicate to her grandparents.
She thought that he was spying on her.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so when she came back, like, her clothes were all askew because she kind of just threw them on, and she, like, ran and said, like, Costas is not a nice boy.
Yeah.
Which, in her parents' mind, is like, oh, he's a rapist.
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah, I know. And I was reading that, and I was like, this is a big thing. I mean, if she's 15, maybe she doesn't understand. Oh, like, no, she shouldn't. I mean, I don't know. It's a, like, she didn't over-exaggerate, but she just didn't, I don't know.
Terrifying.
Just some like, bad consequences for that, which I don't think ever get fully realized, because they're like, oh, it's okay because Costas is, you know,
Yeah.
we love Costas. We know he didn't do anything, and you're like, okay, that's nice. I guess that worked out that way.
And I think it also, like, showed something about cross-cultural differences in the sense that, like, I feel like whereas, you know, in North American countries, it's like, you know, over here, like, they'd be like, okay, like, let's talk about this. Are you okay? Things like that. Whereas her Greek grandparents were kind of like, we're going to go fight. Like, let's go beat this guy up, you know? Like, let's not ask, let's just act. And so I thought that was also really interesting.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's good. They were frustrated. I was frustrated yesterday trying to figure this all out, and so they're like, and then the dog food's in here, so they're feeding dogs. Woohoo! Yay, being home for summer.
Yeah.
I managed to avoid dogs coming into my room, so I feel you.
Yeah.
I had my cat over here for a while playing with some newspaper, but he just.
Yeah. Do.
Yeah, can we agree though that Lena's like, as a character, she's interesting, but like her storyline is the most haphazard.
Yeah.
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 In the movie, it was so much better.
It really was, and not just like, I mean, Coast is also really cute, I think, in the movie.
He was really
Yeah.
cute.
I don't like Eric in the movie, the coach.
Mm-hmm.
He had like that like Justin Bieber hair, but it was like thick hair, and it just did not work quite. I'm like, if you have that thick of hair, just let it go do whatever it wants, you know?
Funny.
Yeah. And he looked way too old in the movie too. Like,
And then when he like just they randomly like run into each other or something happens and she like finds him back in Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
I like the fact that Eric, I don't know, takes more ownership like at the time.
mhm.
Like he like goes up to her and like I don't know. I like that better. I thought that was better.
Yeah. Definitely. It seems more realistic in that weird scenario.
Yeah, I get that.
For sure. I don't know. I think just I'm still like I'm so impressed of how different the four girls are.
Mm-hmm.
And I always forget when I'm reading these that they aren't actually in the same place for like except for the very first and the very last chapter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a little bit here and there, but I just find that they still blend so well without, you know, there being like, oh, there's gonna be the popular girl, there's gonna be the nerdy girl, you know, like they don't fit a perfect stereotype.
Yeah.
I think is great for like middle school girls to read because so many times YA characters fit the stereotype too much.
Mhm.
And there wasn't like a main girl and there wasn't like her best friend because there's four of them. So that dynamic changes. It's not like a dichotomy. I'm forgetting all my English lit words. That's a word.
I get that, and I think that that's nice, like, as a teenage girl, because I totally remember, like, reading, I don't know if you guys read the Click books. Like, everyone, I was obsessed with them, and everyone was like, okay, like, you're a Massey, and, like, you're an Elisa, and, like, it was all about, like, social hierarchy and stereotypes, and, like, what I really appreciate about this book is that, like, young girls can look at it and be like, I'm a Tibby, but, like, I also like can see how that's a very fluid character and has all of these different complex traits, and like there's not necessarily like most people I talk to are like, oh, I'm kind of like Alina, I'm kind of a this, like you're able to kind of more fluidly be able to put yourself in the characters rather than have to stereotype yourself in order to do that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And it's just so great. Okay, this thought just popped in my mind. Like, obviously, it's the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, and obviously, you know, there's the patriarchy, which sucks, and all that sort of stuff. But like, what do you guys think? What like so the males in this book are two love interests, a dude that plays games, and then family members. That's like all the guys, right? And a boss.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that's? I mean, for this purpose of the book, is that like? Should there be more main guy characters that have more of a voice, like as like they're the narrator?
You know, when I was
What
in
do you-
high school, I didn't really hang out with guys very much. Like, I was very much in a girl pack all the time. And I'm not saying, like, girls to hang out with guys. But, you know, but, like, in reality, like, everyone I knew, most of the time, we would hang out with, like, a core group of women. And then, like, have guy friends, but, like, it was mostly... Because, like, in high school, most girls that I knew were uncomfortable. Like, they were more comfortable hanging out with girls than they were hanging out with guys. Not always, but like in my experience. So it felt like realistic to me.
Yeah.
Maybe not necessarily to other people.
I think that the reason that it makes sense to me is like obviously like you know, there are so many books where there are male narrators and like no female main characters.
Exactly, yeah.
Like aside from that, I think that it made sense to me because the situations that they were in didn't really necessarily call for it. Like, so, you know, Bridget was at an all-girls soccer camp, and, like, you know, Carmen was visiting her family, and, you know, Tibby was just kind of hanging out. And, like, so in these places, like, there wasn't really a necessity or, like, an unopened territory where there should have, like, there felt like there should have been a male voice. And so I felt like that might have been why it didn't bother me so much.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, but I was just like thinking like what if one of the girls, or like there's not any LGBTQ plus characters that we know of
Yeah.
in this series. Like I was thinking like what if one of the characters was a guy, what if one of them wasn't straight, or what it was, you know, somewhere else on the spectrum, you know, like how would that I thought that just came to me, and I was like, that would be interesting.
I think that would be cool. I think we also have to remember that like this was written in 2002, and so
Exactly.
the way that it was probably pretty like damn revolutionary at that time, you know?
Yeah.
But like, that was cool.
Even the fact that they don't really have, like, there's love interests, but like beyond Lena, it's not overpowering. Even like with Lena, it's not like the only thing that's going on in their storyline, which I think is cool. 'Cause, like a lot of contemporary YA, it's very much like there's two storylines. One of them is a love interest thing, and one of them is like a side, like a second story, maybe like a hobby or something. But so much just about that, and this was so much more complex, which is neat.
Like their romance wasn't their defining feature.
Yeah. I think as like a tween, that was so important to me because this book like sparked like friendship has always been like my number one thing. Like in high school, I never was into like dating all the guys. Plus, I was too busy too. Like whatever, doing my own thing. But like just the friendship aspects of it, just like really like it grounded that into my head as a kid. So I just love this series because of that. And like rereading it, I also have realized that the four girls, like obviously they're equally have their time to talk in the book and the narrator, but like there's also the side characters that have so much input, and since I love side characters, and I'm like, oh, this is why I love side characters, is because there's all these people have these voices in this book, and it's just so interesting. And it doesn't like occasionally there'll be a YA book that it does an all right job with, but not all the time.
Yeah.
Even just like girl friendship isn't in a lot of YA. Like female friendship is such a rarity.
Yeah.
It's very much girl, and then maybe like one best friend.
Yeah. And like even when it is kind of a more like it's never usually like the main plot line, but if it's a more major plot line, it usually ends up being like, I'm in a big fight with my friend, and they're in a big fight with their friend until the very end when something like crazy happens. They're like, let's be friends again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh, go.
Oh man, I keep accidentally cutting you off, Janessa, but but yeah, I think that was the main reason why I was okay with the, I guess, lack of central male characters as well, because it's about like female friendship, and the fact that it's so like underrepresented in YA and just in general, I think like you don't feel like something's missing because you feel like you have so much richness in a place that you never found it before, which is totally cool.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah. I think that what really struck me this time reading it was the theme of your family does not necessarily need to be your immediate family. Like obviously it includes your immediate family, but like family can cross so many lines and borders. And like, you know, when Bridget was at that camp, like those girls became her family and wanted to take care of her, and like, you know, obviously the four girls are each other's family, and Bailey became Tibby's family, and all of these things. And I think that specifically with the four girls, I was reading this article the other day, and it was like something along the lines of like, I don't think my husband is my soulmate. I think that my girlfriends are. And that like really
So true.
yeah, I was like, yes, like that is family. That is true love. And like the way that I think Bailey was like, yeah, you're in a fight, but like you love each other and you're gonna get over it. Like, duh. Like,
Or even like with Carmen, her dad, and like how, I don't know who said it, Bailey or her mom was like, maybe you're not mad at your dad because you don't, like, you can be mad at me and you can be mad at Tibby because they'll always love you, but you don't feel that way with her with her father. I thought that was like very profound. I was like, yes, so true. Yeah.
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 I just am still like so amazed about this series. Like, is there like a YA contemporary, or even in other like YA-ish genres? Like, I mean, Harry Potter has a lot of friendship, obviously, but there's so much more, because Harry Potter. But like, I don't know of any other books that are so focused on friendship.
Yeah.
I think the only one I can really think of is Morgan Matson. A couple of her books are the last two of her books.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't read a lot of contemporary YA, but I tend to read hers because I just think she's a good writer. The last two of her books have been very focused on female friendships specifically, and they've been really great for that.
Especially I just read Since You've Been Gone, right after this, which I liked a lot.
Yeah.
I haven't read any of hers yet.
They're really good. They hit that same sort of mark of writing complicated female friendships, which is what we need. Yeah. What I wanted to read in high school, which I didn't really find anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Did you guys? I just remember. Oh, sorry. Did you guys know? Do you know Trina from
Between Chapters?
Yes, Between Chapters. Her and like Kayla Ray, and they're also reading the series this summer.
She just retweeted my We're Live tweet. She was like, "Pants along, people! Like, there's another Sisterhood."
Yeah. And I was like, I saw an announcement video, and I was like, did she see my video? I'm like, no, it's her own. Like, Janessa, you're not that popular on BookTube. I mean, not to say you know what I mean?
No, it's okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, I mean, yeah, and I was really excited. I was like, oh, but I'm like, well, yay, more people are gonna spread this around.
Yeah,
I was really excited.
I think it's cool. I think it's a really good summer read, honestly. It's such a good summer read, and so at the same time, of course, people are gonna want to read it in the summer.
Yeah.
And it's more we can be a part of the conversation, which is awesome.
Yeah. Oh no, I was really excited. I was like, join our Goodreads group too if you want. Which I was like, Goodreads is interesting. I was trying to figure that out.
Yeah. I'd had a book club for a hot minute, and we got a decent amount of comments, but I was like, I don't understand this. I'm just gonna let it be. And the book club did not keep going after the first couple months, but it's fine. Yeah, it's off topic, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. I don't know about you guys, but I read through this really fast. I mean, I also was on a lot of trains when I was reading this, so I had hours to read. But I read through it really fast. I don't know if that's because I read it before.
Yeah. I mean, I read it before, too. And I have to admit that I completely forgot to read it until the day before it was due, or we had set the date, and then we had been okay, we're gonna actually talk about it on July 3rd or whatever. I was like, okay, I just need to finish it before then. And so I think I started 3 days ago, and I just finished it this morning. It was and I that was what my schedule needed. I'm very busy, but total, I read it in a few hours. It was a pretty quick read for me. But what about you guys?
Quick, super quick. But I've been reading a lot of stuff for school, so getting into it was wow, this is great. This isn't written a bajillion years ago.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the context of when you're reading it helps. Because sometimes I read YA contemporary and it takes me forever for some reason. But if I'm reading a lot of other stuff, but yeah, very quick for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really quick for me too. I read it on my lunch breaks at work, and I finished it in 3 days or something, which is pretty good for me too. Because I also find that certain books they just want to be read slower, and it's a good thing or a bad thing, but this just like that, which was awesome.
Totally.
Yeah. Yeah, I read through it so fast, and then I didn't download the second one, and I was like, you have to pace yourself. You have to talk about the first one before you can read the second one. And I was like, I just want to finish it all. And also, I'm bored on a train.
so good for me because I am so bad at finishing the series.
You.
Notoriously bad. Yeah, right? So I'm just like, oh, I don't know. I like will stop in the middle, halfway through of a third book in a series and be like, this is too stressful. I can't do it. And I'll shelf it and won't finish it. This will be I'll actually finish something.
Yeah, they're a quick series.
Think about my accountability buddy.
Read it.
Yeah.
Can we talk about which this is the only question that I brought into this thing. What everyone's Hogwarts house is for the.
That's such a great idea.
That's a great question. Oh my goodness.
Bridget's got to be Gryffindor, right?
Yeah. I would say.
Oh yeah.
Carmen likes Gryffindor too, though.
Yeah, she is quite ambitious, but she's also really loyal, I feel like. Because she's the one that is writing it down in the beginning, you know? She's the one
who's, like, into the ceremonies and into the friendship, like, formalities and, like...
I mean, she's definitely very Gryffindor-y. She's very, like, direct.
Fiery. That's what I thought, like, she's just so, like, explosive at times, which seemed more Gryffindor-y, maybe, than...
Yeah.
You guys want to know a secret?
What?
I've only read the first 4 Harry Potter books.
Abby.
That's our next book club.
Yeah.
Next to make a book club.
Harry Potter.
Have you seen all the movies?
I've seen one movie. I think it was, like, the 5th movie.
Oh.
I wasn't kidding when I said I was bad at finishing series.
I thought, like, Harry Potter was in, like, a separate, like, realm of
Yeah. There's Harry Potter, and then there's the rest of the books world. Yeah.
So, like, I get what you're talking about, is my point. But
it took me like 8 years to finish Harry Potter, but I finished it.
Yeah, I had to read it way later because my parents were like, you can't read it, so I had to read it in secret. It was my rebellion.
There you go. But I don't know what the houses are, so you're good.
Yeah.
Well, I get the conversation. Yeah, no, I get it. I'm just
Okay, cool.
really admitting.
Okay. I don't know about Lena, like...
I mean, if we had to pick for the other two, I would say Tibby is a Slytherin and Lena is a Ravenclaw.
Yeah.
Like, they don't match exactly, but enough.
Yeah, because I feel like the artsy side of, like, how Lena's so, like with her painting and she's very thoughtful, I feel like that's very Ravenclaw-y.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah. I know, I think Bridget and Carmen are very Gryffindor-y, but I feel like Bridget's more, in my mind, just, like, with the stereotype of Gryffindor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carmen's like a little bit Hufflepuffy. Like, she's a little bit on the Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just not many Hufflepuffs are very, you know, in your face.
Yeah.
As a Hufflepuff, I say that because I am so passive.
I am the most in your face. I'm a Hufflepuff Tibby, apparently.
I love it.
That's great.
Hufflepuff every time.
Bust those stereotypes.
That's
Bust them down. Yeah. I really like that idea. I love doing that all the time. Or I was in band, so I'll be like, what instrument were you? Like, and if that was the case, Carmen would be a trumpet. Like, totally. Lena would be a flute.
Tibby would be drunk.
Yeah, Tibby would be the percussion. Like, she'd be stuck on, like, the triangle, pissed off at the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, what would Bridget be? I don't even know if she'd be in band.
Bridget would be like a guitar. Bridget would be like in, like, the symphony thing.
I feel like she'd
yeah.
play the clarinet for a year and then get bored.
Yeah. She's like, I'm done.
An amazing vocalist naturally. She would just have, like, a fantastic voice without having to work at it ever.
Seriously.
I think Blake Lively as Bridget is the most ingrained out of all of them.
Yeah.
He's Blake Lively.
Yep, exactly.
Even with the hair thing, like how she's defined by her awesome hair.
Yeah. Banana hair.
Yeah.
I feel like the casting for the movie was so perfect, except for Eric. They were so perfect.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like,
yeah,
completely. I want there to be another movie just because they're all still friends.
It's in the works.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is it gonna be based off the book there about the adult?
They haven't given any details, but like all of them, like individually in interviews, have been like, yeah, like we're talking about it. We want it to happen. Like it's in the works.
Because they're all the godmothers of Blake Lively's baby, and that made me cry when I read that on BuzzFeed. I was like sitting there in my room. My roommate's like, Janessa, what's wrong? I'm like, they're the godmothers of Blake's baby.
So cute, and like they all really want another movie, and I think that would be fucking fantastic.
It would be so great.
Yeah.
I'd watch that, yeah. So hard.
I think my favorite story of them as adults, besides them all being the godmother, is when I want to say it was Amber Tamblyn, where Blake Lively was like, you're in the area, like come. I'm trying to decide between like my curtains or whatever for my new house. Like I want you to come give your opinion. And so like she came up and like Blake Lively's baby was there, and like she didn't realize she had a baby. Like it was a total like surprise I had a baby thing. Like she still thought she was like 9 months pregnant. She was like, come look at my curtains. Daycare for the baby.
I like that she would go help with the curtains. Like, oh yeah, totally. Like,
why not?
What's the cutest thing? I love the fact, I don't know about you guys, but when I watch something that I love, I just want everyone to be friends.
Totally.
Real hardcore. And the fact that, like, when I watch Gilmore Girls, speaking of Alexis Fidel, I'm like, Lauren Graham and her have to be best friends.
Yeah.
They have to. They have coffee all the time.
Yeah.
Perf. Everything's great in the world.
Yeah.
She's a mom now, too.
Yeah.
Alexis Bledel. I think that's awesome. They're all so grown.
Baby.
Well,
I know. It makes me feel like older, even though they're like
doing something.
older.
Yeah. I'm like, I should be doing something.
I know. Oops, 5th year of college.
Ooh, I'm sitting in an apartment. I don't know. I have a cat. That's pretty good.
You're good for now.
Yeah.
Level achieved. Okay. Yeah. Do you guys have any last thoughts before we decide the second book stuff?
I don't think so. I think we covered a lot.
Yeah.
I would say so too. Is there anything that really pissed you off, to go back to the things that really
That really.
Besides the consent thing, which I really don't want to get into right now because I could just go off for like 5 hours about it, which I won't. That.
Yeah.
I think just the insta-lovey stuff, which, I mean, it wasn't that bad compared to other YA, but it was bad enough that I was like, but you're great characters, like, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Good though. I really liked it, which is nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you guys liked it. I mean, it's a great series and I knew that, but I was like, but we're also in our 20s and so we're not gonna, you know.
It was different for sure, reading it as an adult rather than a kid, but like I feel like I brought different things to it each time that I've read it, and I think that that's all really interesting to look at.
What if I just, like, part of me just walks in, I have to pick my senior thesis paper book, and I'll just walk in and be like, hi, Professor, I'm going to do this dessert on the German bench. She'd be like, no.
That would be awesome, but it's like a combined gender study.
Right? I have a 2-page paper on it. I want it to be something I like. So.
Amazing.
Yeah, because we do capstone at my university, so we don't get to choose the topic, and when I do it in the spring, it's going to be with Milton.
Oh, fun.
I mean, it's my favorite professor doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't know how I'm going to last. I barely got through Paradise Lost, and I was just like, okay, we get it. There's the devil and Adam, and
I picked something, like, really new, because we had to pick something we had read in our 4 years or whatever. I was only there for 2, but I was like, okay, I'm going to pick something hella new, because if I have to spend hours with Shakespeare for the course of the semester, I've already done that. I don't need to do that again.
That makes sense. Yeah. I was a psych major, so I, like, wrote a science analysis, like...
Yeah, I'm a business major. This is very different for me.
Wait, a what major?
Business.
Oh, so much different.
Yeah, so I don't write essays.
I'm with you, Emma. I'm like, essays for days, like...
Forever.
I know, and you're doing summer stuff, right? You got a grant and stuff?
I have a research grant, so I'm so started on it, but I haven't.
Oh, man.
Awesome,
wow. That's so cool, though. Like,
it's very adult.
Yeah.
It's not, though. I mean, it's like, it's adult, but it's also like, I don't even know. It's just I'm very overwhelmed.
I get you.
I'm for this, but I mean, it took away what I was going to write about for my senior thesis, so I really screwed myself there.
Nah. But that's so cool. A grant, like that's like impressive. Like that's so impressive.
It's for South Carolina. So if you understand South Carolina, like.
I mean, I go to school in Montana, so like if I got a grant, it's like even like half the people that are in South Carolina, but I'd still be like,
Yeah.
riding my high horse or whatever that phrase is, high horse. I don't know.
I go to, not to spend forever, but I go to a college town that's really, I go to a college, like where I live, my mom's a professor, the college town is really good, and I go to a really tiny women's college 2 hours away. So people just say, I got a research grant, and they go, oh, you got a research grant from this place, and I'm like, no, I didn't. They're like, oh, well. Okay, but yeah, off topic.
Okay, so for the second book, what are you guys thinking, like, time-wise?
It's not, they're all about the same length. So.
I could read it in like a day.
Yeah.
So I don't need like a ton of time.
So tomorrow?
Yeah.
Let me look at my calendar really quick and like see like how everything lines up with the month. So how many books are there? There are 4 books that we're reading?
Yeah, there's 4. Because I read the adult book. It'd be really good to discuss, and I would do that, but like 5 books in the summer, and especially since Emma has the grant and stuff, and I have working.
Yeah.
Go away, message. Then, like, I mean, we could always do that later, like, reunion book club, like, later,
Yeah.
We could revisit it like they do, because then it's like 10 years later or something.
Yeah, it's...
Not 10 years, but...
Yeah, they're adults, and I have a lot of feelings about it. Like,
Wiki, I had a lot of feelings about it.
yeah. Yeah.
So I'm looking, and if we did every 2 weeks, then we'd end on the 28th of August, and I feel like that might be late for you guys starting college.
That's the day before I start, so I would...
Maybe no.
I mean, I'd be alright with that, but...
Yeah, that might be a little squished, though.
Mm-hmm.
I'm honestly free whenever.
Are Sunday nights good for you guys?
Yeah, they're good for me.
Yeah, I'm off usually on Saturdays, but I'm never working past 5:30 Alaska time, which is 9:30
Okay.
for you guys, so...
Would we want to aim for, like, next Sunday this time? Like, we can aim for it. And, like, obviously we can totally change it if something happens for one of us and, like, we can't do it. But do we want to, like, aim for that?
I mean, that works for me. I could do that.
Let me double check since I have that schedule for work. Okay. Yeah, I'm done working at 5:30 next Sunday, so I could get home by 5:45.
Okay. So we then do...
Like 9:30 or 10 for you guys?
Cool.
Somewhere around there.
Sounds good. Okay.
Also, I had a question. Like, we could totally do the next live show or hangout, whatever the correct term is, on my channel again. Like, I'm totally down. But I was wondering if one of you guys wanted to. Do Google Hangout. It's way easy.
Yeah.
I figured it out. But
the traveling hangout.
That'd be cool because there are 4 books and 4 of us.
Yeah, that's cute. That's adorable.
I like that a lot.
You're Carmen, so who's next in the line of...
I have it on my Kindle phone. I can look. I'll flip really fast if it loads. No. Just kidding. This is going to take a long time.
I think I'm going to get last. Bridget gets it last, I think.
I think so. It goes... Doesn't Lena get it first, though?
Yeah, I know Lena's first, but then if we're
or Carmen started the writing it down.
Yeah.
I started open.
I think I went to Tibby after Lena.
That makes sense, because it's Carmen and there's the thing about Mimi.
I think it does go to Tibby because that's where she meets Bailey, because she's wearing the pants when she meets Bailey.
Okay.
Yeah, because Lena got the blood on it, and then she gave it to Tibby.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
So Emma's next.
So I'm next?
Yeah, I could totally message you the step-by-step of how to do it, so it's easier since I figured it out.
Cool. That
Yeah.
sounds good.
So next Sunday, around 9:30ish for you guys. It takes me 12 minutes to get home from work. Island props. So, a little bit after 9:30.
Sounds good.
If we all can read. I mean, obviously, if we can't finish it, the book. Yeah. But
Sounds good.
cool. I'm so excited that this worked out and
Yay.
everything. Okay. So
I'm impressed.
If I push stop broadcasting, I think we can still chat for like a couple more minutes.
Cool.
Okay. Bye, everyone watching, which I think is one person.